Okay. This is just going to be a story about my latest mushroom trip. Okay. Um, I hadn't done mushrooms since Christmas of 2 years ago, which is a long time. And now I have a girlfriend, and she had tried LSD with me once, and she's like, oh my gosh. And first time ever on psychedelics, by the way. She doesn't like pot. She's not into pot, marijuana, right? Even though it's legal here in Washington. And I was like, I put like one drop of LSD in this water bottle, and then just she had a couple sips, but she could see ruins on her arms, and I'm like, yeah, what do you think? And there was a little bit of something, but I was like, it's time to do mushrooms because mushrooms to me, I mean, that's my religion. It really is. I think that's a entheogen. It's a sacrament. It's mushrooms are very important. And also, she seemed very hard and set in her ways, and I knew she was on Lexapro, which is a SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, antidepressant. But so is what we did in the morning. We ate on an empty stomach a bar of 85% cacao dark chocolate a piece. So we had that's a MAOI inhibitor because your stomach produces monoamine oxidase, and that prevents you from feeling tryptamines such as psilocybin, which, anyways, besides the science, it makes it stronger. It makes the mushroom stronger if you can have dark chocolate cacao before you have mushrooms. And then we had 4 grams of mushrooms a piece, which is a pretty freaking hefty dose. And there were Thai cubensis. So I get these Thai cubensis, and I was like, you might gag. And she's, no, they're not bad. And even though it's just like you get them down, and 20 minutes into it, actually 10 minutes into it, both our hearts are beating. You can't feel anything, but you feel your heart going gung, 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 gung. And she's like, I don't know. Is that good? And I'm like, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's chill. It's good. And she's like, are you sure? And a lot of people think mushrooms are poisonous, and they're not. They actually, the LDL, which is like, I forget what that stands for, but you can eat like 50 pounds of mushrooms without a toxic effect. They're not toxic unless you're allergic to them. But then again, you can be allergic to peanuts. And anyways, they're not toxic. Psychologically, though, your body integrates them, and you're like, whoa, and your whole thing, and your heart starts beating. And okay, 20 minutes in, I see this fabric like peacock feathers come across the ceiling because we're laying down on my bed in my bedroom and just kind of waiting for it. I feel myself, just get this like almost like an ethereal blanket over my skin. And I'm like, how do you feel? She's like, a little anxious. I was like, a little anxious. That's it. Do you see anything? She's like, nope. Time goes by, and all of a sudden, I feel that DMT ness where like all these geometric patterns. When I close my eyes, it's geometry, and I'm seeing boxes, cubes within cubes, and there's little guys in it with all these little shapes, and they're doing things. And I had her, and she's like laying on my chest, and I'm like, I start to feel her, and she feels very sad. Just this, I was like, oh, and I see this little guy in one of these cubes, and he's like right here. I'm like, dude, can I help you? What do I do? And he's like, fuck off. And I'm like, okay. Because I mean, I get that a lot when I dimethyltryptamine, DMT, which is a smokable thing that is very similar to mushrooms. But the creatures there, they're not all compassionate. They're like, fuck off, I need to do work, and fuck you. I'm like, oh, okay. It's a very a jokester, prankster type thing. They're not full of shit, and I am, and they know it. And at the same time, I try to work with them, and I was trying to work with them there, and then I was just I felt like more myself, like a space holder. And I hate it when people say holding space, but that's kind of what I felt like I was doing. 40 minutes into it, the whole room and everything is, and I feel connected to everything, and just like a vibrating being full of electricity and light. And I ask her, so how do you feel now? And she's like, I don't feel a thing. And that struck me as very not cool that you couldn't feel. a thing. And I was like, maybe it's that Lexapro you're on. It's a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, and mushrooms, the psilocybin, actually plays off the serotonergic receptors in your brain. Maybe it's blocking it. And she's like, huh? I was like, I don't know. It should work. I mean, 4 grams of mushrooms on an empty stomach with dark chocolate ahead of time. That should cover the bases. You should be feeling it. And I was like, but I'm feeling all these creatures in the room, and like, and everything's there. And I was like, this was supposed to let I have a voice in my head that I call Gabriel, and he's always there, and he's a voice. He's more of a shimmering blue and white creature that I contacted in 2001 on my first giant heroic dose of mushrooms. And anyways, without getting into him, I was hoping that she would at least be able to see that there is more than just the physical, and experience it more to where you can say, yes, it's all in your mind, but wait a minute, wait a minute, because it's like a layer gets removed for those of you that have done mushrooms. And it kind of disturbed me that she couldn't feel it. And then it became even more disturbing. And she went out to go use the bathroom. And then I got this mental image that was very real. There was this predator type creature. Have you seen the Predator? The Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, that movie, that thing with. I saw that, and it snaked around the room in this like external vision, and it came around me, and then she came in the room, and it just like latched onto my head, and she's like there, and she's like smiling at me in this sort of vision. I was like, holy fuck. And here I was trying to help her, but I was like, whoa, whatever that parasite thing is, I can't deal with that. And she comes back in the room and sits there, and I was like, whoa. And she lays down next to me on the bed, and she's like, I can't feel a damn thing. Where can I go get beer or wine? Can I go to the 7-Eleven? I was like, uh-huh. She's like, do you want any? I was like, uh-uh. In the meantime, that creature, it's like in the room, that centipede type predator creature. It's right. I was like, oh. And so she leaves to the 7-Eleven to go get wine. I'm just laying there, like trying to like fathom. And I'm like, is that thing preventing her from feeling the mushroom? Wait, it's all in my mind. No, it's not in my mind. And sure enough, that thing and other things are there. And the room is all creepy crawly with these creatures. It's like, I love mushrooms for that reason, and I was like, God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And so she comes back, and I'm just like in tears at this point, going, oh my gosh, I can't help her. That thing is like way out of my realm of like shamanism. That way beyond and I'm not a shaman. I'm just a joke. But it's kind of hand in hand. I'm experienced in the realm of psychedelics, and I want to get back into it. But I was like, I can't help this girl. I can't. The mushrooms did not indoctrinate. The mushrooms could not get through to her, because maybe that centipede creature, maybe not, maybe, and it was like a parasite, and it wanted to latch onto me, and I'm just like, oh, and all of a sudden I got this retch in my stomach, because I mean, sometimes on mushrooms you need to puke, or you feel like you do, and I just sat up, I was like, whoa, and my eyes start tearing over, and I'm like, oh, you need to go. And she's like, excuse me? It's like, she's laying next to me on the bed. I'm like, could you please leave? She goes, no, you can't invite somebody over and tell them to leave. And I'm just like, right. And in the meantime, that creature and I'm just like, you're doing the bidding of this creature. And she's like, I was like, so you won't leave? And she's like, no, what are you talking about? And I'm like, but I want you to leave now. And she's like, I'm not going to leave. I was like, fuck. Why won't you leave? She's like, I'm drunk. I'm like, you drunk? You don't seem very drunk. You're sipping on a beer or whatever. But she's like, you want me to leave the room? I was like, yes, yeah. And so she leaves the room, but that thing stays behind. And for 2 hours, I literally did battle with this centipede type thing. And she comes back in the room. She's like, what is going on? And I was like, okay, there's this thing attached to you. It's an ethereal centipede type predator thing. And I think it's why you can't feel the mushroom. I don't know, but she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I was like, "I can't explain." And she's like, "I don't know how this works. I don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "I know you don't know, but I do. And could you please leave? Could you just please leave my house?" And she's like, "Jasper, what is the matter? Can we just talk?" I was like, "We're beyond words." She's like, "Are you breaking up with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I just realized I needed to break up." And she says, "Don't you care that you're hurting my feelings?" I'm like, "No, I mean, could you just please fuck off?" And she's like, "Whoa." And that was very harsh, and it sounded harsh even to my own ears. But it wasn't her that I wanted to fuck off. It was that thing, that centipede thing. And she finally, she went out and took a nap on the couch out in this living room place, and then she finally just said, "Fine." And she grabbed a book that she had lent me, and she just left. And I'm just like, what in the actual fuck? And I got kind of freaked out. I was like, what if she calls the cops? What if she gets all vindictive? And so I left. I got in my car and left. I mean, by then the mushrooms were, it was easy to drive. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And the thing is, when you're not on mushrooms and you look at it in the rearview mirror in hindsight with a sober mind, you're like, wait, 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 wait. Was any of that real? I mean, did she have a parasite, or was that my own mind going down a deep end? I mean, she had gotten drunk and clawed me one and just like wanted to rip into me. I mean, was that a projection from that memory that created the predator thing? My mind starts to do these loops. But I remembered how real it felt. I remembered how I felt sober, more sober than ever. But that's the thing about being crazy. You don't know you're crazy, right? You can't convince a crazy person that they're crazy because they're like, no, the rest of the world is crazy. There's interdimensional creatures all over the place. The reptilians, I need a tinfoil hat because of, I don't know, chemtrails and freaking EMF, electromagnetic frequencies from cell phone towers. And, there's a deep end to go off of. Did I not just go off the deep end? So I called her up 2 days later. She actually texted. She's like, can we talk? I was like, I don't think it's a good idea to talk. I don't know. You have a different paradigm than me. I mean, when it comes down to it, you want me to marry you, put a ring on the finger, and then you call me your future ex-husband, and you want to take half my shit if we ever get divorced, and you want to lock me down, and that don't work for me, girl. That so what are we doing? What's the point? And besides, I'm crazy. I imagine crazy predator stuff, and you couldn't feel mushrooms, but I'm not holding that against you, even though I kind of was, and it wasn't against her. I was just like, I and she's like, please, I don't like how we broke up non-amicably. It just seems it was like you're right. And so I called her up and I could hear the hurt in her voice. And I'm like, oh, my heart goes out to her. And she's like, so you're not going to be my boyfriend anymore? I was like, I'm crazy. You saw that I'm crazy. Why would you want to be with me? You make 50 grand a year. I'm just I have Bitcoin, sure, and some other things, and I'm all shady, and you play by the rules, and I don't. I'm exactly what you're not looking for, which is a committal guy. You want a lawyer or some doctor with a house to take care of you, and I want somebody that meets me halfway, goes 50-50. And she goes, so you're just breaking up with me. And I was like, huh. And so I didn't. And we've been together, but it was weird. I feel like maybe I should have broken up with her. I feel like it is a joke what we're doing now because I'm not going to be with her in the long run. I'm not going to put a ring on her finger, and so we're building this life together that when I leave in January, going back to Hawaii, bye bye, girl, bye bye. And she knows this, and I know this. It just seems very motherfucking mushrooms. Can you ever trust them? Can you trust mushrooms? Anyways, that is my latest mushroom trip. And she doesn't want to do them again with me. And I don't blame her. Peace and aloha, guys. And try not to pay attention to the Kavanaugh thing too much.